Good evening, dear colleagues and dear students and dear friends. Zhu Xiaofeng is a practicing architect and also a newly appointed professor in the Department of Architecture at Hong Kong U. So since he is a colleague, I didn't really want to read his bio. So I got up at 6 a.m. for Xiaofeng to pay some attention here to write a few lines. So I'm going to read that. Hopefully, that's materials, information you wouldn't find in his bio. You may not even find them on the internet, although you could find anything else because I just made it up. Uh, okay, so what I would like to do is to place Xiaofeng's work in the context of the development of contemporary Chinese architecture. So in China, there exists a Jiangnan 学派. So the English translation would be the River South School, river referring to Yangtze River. And you probably don't know about Jiangnan 学派. I made it up this morning as well. But you probably heard Gangnam Style before. It's the south part is exactly the same, but the river, of course, one is Han River in Seoul, and this is the Yangtze River in Yangtze River Delta. So anyway, this particular school is, of course, is not an university, but a group of architects from a number of cities in that particular region, from the city like Nanjing in the north, and then all the way down to Hangzhou in the south. The characteristics of this particular school is its emphasis on the integration of architecture and engineering. This group of architects has been making buildings with innovative structures and exquisite details. In their work, you can take space and structure apart. Often, as a byproduct, you also see the dimensions of the material, be it the size of a steel column or the thickness of a concrete eaves, designed just right. For this Jiangnan 学派, precision becomes form. Meanwhile, they are less interested in the traditional heavy timber architecture in the northern part of China and trying to modernize the architectural formal language of the vernacular architecture in the south, and of course in the Jiangnan region in particular. So Xiaofeng is not only part of this movement, but one of its best, along with some other architects you may know, like Philip Yuanfeng, who is coming in May, actually, and he recently, Professor Yuan has become the Dean of College of Architecture and Planning at Tongji University, and he's coming to Hong Kong U for a conference, and will deliver a public lecture as well. And also Liu Yichun, who has been invited already to come to Hong Kong U to speak. All of them are Shanghai-based. So you probably wonder if I'm a northern or southern architect. So I consider myself a southern architect. However, just to be more precise, one of the architects I mentioned, Liu Yichun, he once said, I'm a mole from the Jiangnan 学派 in the north. That's the definition. I don't know if you get it. Doesn't matter. Let's welcome Xiaofeng up to the stage.
I use. Okay. Thank you, Ding Yung Ho, for such a unique introduction, and I really love it. And then I think architects can never practice without a recognition of the where he is from and where he ate, where he grew up. I think it's very important for the whole growth of any architect. And today I'm going to talk about iteration that Scenic Architecture Office has done over the past 22 years, I would say. And then I give the name of iterating towards seeding. Because we are right now, the whole world, all the architecture fields are, all the architects and students are doing iteration every day. Basically, we're developing, yeah, different phases and then trying to get things move on. But I found it's a tremendous risk, yeah, nowadays, yeah, for iterating with too many kind of versions without kind of enough significance of what the direction is. So this is my goal, actually. Yeah. Um, how to move on, actually. Should I? It's not moving. A page down?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this one. Okay. Okay, wait. Okay. Um, Ding Yung Ho just mentioned the location of Jiangnan area. This is China and southeast Yangtze River Delta, where it is. Of course, I start my practice in Shanghai after graduating from Boston and then working in New York City. So that was like 2004, 22 years ago. And then when I came back, of course, I was born in Shanghai and I grew up in Nanjing. And then some of my relatives are from Hangzhou. So I'm actually really this kind of area. I'm the person of this area. So when I came back, I really want to sort of try to engage with the culture that I'm familiar with. These are some wisdoms developed from the iterations of Chinese architecture and gardens, including philosophy, ontology, methodology, and then experientiality. Yeah, I see some of my students are laughing because they choose the same picture that I love as well. Yeah, these are from before your class, actually. Yeah. But on the other hand, what I faced in reality is quite stunning. I found that there's a big fracture, yeah, or big void between what I see from my original culture and the reality in urban or rural or tectonic or spatial conditions. Yeah, all these things drive me to sort of start to think about uh, uh, I cannot just practice like just doing some good buildings within this context. I need to think about how to improve or kind of give sort of a pursuit from myself, my own point of view to engage and push architecture in certain directions. I want to make my iteration more significant in a way, more meaningful in a way. So then I think it's not the only problem of from sort of the contrast between tradition and modern. Yeah, it is more of a discourse of between kind of a more complexity from contemporary compared to our primitive age. And it's not only in China. It's this question is regarding is in a global context. From this diagram, you can see in primitive age, architecture only need to deal with very few things like the nature, yeah, including materials we are using and our own body and mind. And then maybe a bit over that is the tribe, kind of a collective experience. But then look at today, contemporary architects has to deal with all these kind of different complexity. And then, as practicing architects, some of you here are sitting here, we all understand that we spend so much time to deal with all these headaches, which is to me, I try to ask the question, can we go beyond it? And all these red marks are actually, I found, are actually artificial things. Yeah, I call them artificial things that extended from human being. Um, so I start to do, I mean, this is not kind of come out to right away. It is coming maybe 10 years after the practice. Gradually, I start to see architecture as one of the earliest extension of human being. And then from this point, I can tie architecture with all the other artificial systems. And then for me this really helps me to really see architecture, how I see architecture, and how can architecture can be engaged with the other systems. Yeah, because we are a lot of energy where right now architects are doing is actually really related to all the other artificial systems that we invented by ourselves. We cause the whole human being cause this complexity. And then in order to kind of simplify it, I think it's very useful to treat architecture as an extension of human being. Yeah. Like the bottom part, including ceramic and boat architecture, they're all kind of a structural space, as what Dean just mentioned. Yeah, they all belong to structural space, and of course, including other issues. The theory of extension is not what I invented. It's actually from these two scholars. One is Edward T. Hall, who said basically artificial system or extension system is something that need to be treated as a distinct and separate from the user once it's invented, and it will start to take on and identify identity of their own. I think this is a very kind of a interesting standpoint that actually support the idea about, for example, the autonomy of architecture. Yeah. That means architecture as a human invention, it will has its own logic and typology to be developed later. Another theory, kind of a resource, is from McLuhan. This is this is a saying by John Cooking, who actually when he talk about kind of a summarize Marshall McLuhan's theory. Uh, he said that we shape our tours and thereafter our tour shape us. And if you change tour into architecture, I think it works. Yeah, because the tours is something that we define, we invent by ourselves. So with these two things, theory add up together, they basically shape the theory of extension. Um, Sorry to have a little bit theory, but it's the concept of my practice. And then not only human being can develop artificial system, so as this bird called bowerbird, yeah, living Eastern Australia. And then it actually, what they do is actually the male bird will build up this structural space and then try to attract female bird to come and to kind of get her attracted as much as possible. If she decides to stay with him, yeah, this is how they mate together. And then you can see how the bowerbird developed their own iterations with different type, with the sequential space, and then even the length of the space, or kind of reproduction, or how they do the interaction with the surroundings, with the environment. So this model, I mean, this case actually simplify my mind that it is true that whenever it's a um, extension system, it will has to deal with three things. One is the body and mind of this species. The second is the ontology, which is the system itself has its own logic. Third, the system has to interact with all the other systems that it need to be deal with every day. So here comes out my PhD actually concept, which is I see architecture as a human's extension, and then there are three fundamental paths of architecture or architectural evolution, which is body, mind, ontology, and interaction. Yeah. And whereas the body mind is the foundation and ontological value is the intrinsic core, and interaction is external force, which actually I put everything into it, including technology, society, nature. By doing this, I actually clarify my mind. I say whenever how technology developed, I won't get kind of anxious anymore because it's just one part of the interaction that architecture has to do and has to use the interaction to sort of push itself to change and move on. This is only an age that technology is dominating. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's actually has to dominating everything all the way through the whole history. And then this is how architecture kind of get evolved. So with this concept, I've developed my idea of how to iterate my practice. Yeah, instead of actually just doing projects every day, every year, I try to make my practice as a clear threads to iterate, to seed. Yeah, instead of just leaving messages. To seed what? Yeah, I think three things. The first is to seed embodied and enlightening experience, which is responding to the body and mind idea of holistic perception. Second is to seed connectivity between past and future, which is responding to ontology of tectonic and spatial form logic. Third is to see the synergy attitude among nature, technology, and society, which is responding to interaction as a reciprocal co-evolution. And all these via structural space, which is what Ding observed that this is my key, kind of a key words of all my work. I call it structure space instead of structural space because I think they should be equalized. They have structure and space is like the traditional Chinese philosophy, which is the solid and void. Yeah, so they are equal and they mutually support each other. So they should not be, say, an adjective and a noun together. They actually make up each other, yeah, form each other. These are the three form logics of structural space in pre-modern Chinese architecture, which is the introversive courtyard, joinery timber, and organic reproduction. And then what we try to develop are three other kind of a new development or directions of iteration, which is public courtyard, folding plates, and cellular cluster, which is generated from the culture that I grew up. I can call it for now, in the past 20 years, they are the three form logics of structural space in scenic architecture practice. And these are some kind of a grid of our practice with all these logos, public courtyard, folding plates, and cellular cluster. Basically, public courtyard are dealing with spatial category, and then folding plates is using this cultural identity of pitched roof with structural space underneath, which is our interest. Third is using the cellular cluster to try something new, something that can actually pointing to new settlements and how the reproductive elements can help our society to grow. And so today I'll give some example of these three threads. First, about public courtyards. Of course, there's a lot of threads that we can develop from the original form logic to contemporary extension. I won't get too much detail to it, but with a common space, as one side is tied to nature, the other is to the urban direction. We have developed this almost the early projects of Zhujiajiao Museum of Humanities and Arts. It's easy to see how we use the semi-open courtyard to have a dialogue with the context, and also how to introduce the concept of courtyard into indoor and outdoor space with the three-dimensional platforms to kind of organize a terrace tribes with different platforms that tied together with a staircase that transform the earthquake force semantic forces, and then all these platforms are supported by actually bookshelves as structure. And then we developed this platform idea into a 80,000 square meter children's center and public art center, which is actually interactive platforms to kind of encourage different students and tutors to communicate with each other through the platforms and then through all these kind of terraces after they kind of enjoy their kind of education or activities within all different size of boxes. And also, we start to implant it Courtyard into typical or sort of a very narrowed down site for schools. For example, this is something we did in Shanghai, implanting courtyards into the corridor space, and then give people a kind of a same scale of classroom size for people to for students to engage and then with the nature and also to communicate with each other while reading as well. And then also this is a new project we did in Shenzhen, just finished several months ago. We are trying to engage the courtyard, how to open the courtyard and connect different courtyards together with the sports and the educational scenery. This is the first detailed project I want to develop elaborate a little more, which is a art museum in Shanghai. I give a name called Reciprocal Common. Actually, the project is actually at the periphery of a developed kind of a ancient town, but newly developed. And then with this green belt around it, and our building is actually, oops. Can I give this? So there's no pointer, right? Oh, there's a pointer here. Okay. The top one. Okay. Yeah. This is the location of the museum. We're not doing anything within the town, but it's in the green belt. So we try to keep a distance, keep the building with a distance from the commercial fabric. Whereas this whole town was famous on rice field and rice market. So we are giving also agricultural field as part of the outdoor space of the museum. So the whole museum is not an enclosed volume that only speaks its own, but also we use the courtyard idea with corridors to expand the experience of the courtyard and link them with the surroundings, yeah, with this reciprocal structure. So the museum only occupied one corner. The other three corners are rice field, plaza, and riverfront, and then we have a reciprocal structure of corridor to link all these things together. and then try to sort of open up the art activity and expand it to the common space with even with tied with the commercial activity. And the whole idea about the reciprocal structure is to divide the normal gable wall and then make them into half, and then they can freely support the reversed roofing structure, and so as the indoor space doing the same thing. Yeah, this is the plan and the section. So you will feel when we do pitched roof, we never do kind of a big scale like, for example, like Wang Shu did, because what he usually do is a grand scale. But we always care the scale underneath one roof. So this is usually a very intimate size of a traditional house. For example, 6 meter. Yeah. So this for here, this is 7.2 meter for one bay. So altogether, we can have a 20, 21 meter by 21 meter, yeah, kind of over 400 square meter gallery space without column, just a reciprocal beam from four sides. And then we also use the structure to house all the other kind of entry space, cafeteria, small gallery, and then as the gallery as well, the corridor as well. Um, so here comes the courtyard in the modeling, and then this is all kind of not a set of fixed species and activity. We hope the structure can serve the community better, and then with the art activities and commercial activities as well. This is also a way that the museum love it a lot, that because it can house a lot of activities outside. Um, and then courtyard space become a test zoom area for different species in different seasons. Yeah, including many species here, including corns and then other rice fields, and also you cai. How to say that? The yellow flower thing. Now, when you enter the museum, you're gonna have to go through this vestibule area in the front, and then you enter with all these kind of. So no matter where you are moving, either outdoor or indoor, you are underneath this pitched roof, abstracted um, roof, and then pitched, and then which actually can hopefully can arouse the connection, cultural connection with the tradition. And then this is the indoor of the biggest gallery space, which actually use the courtyard idea in the center to introduce in natural light on top of this reciprocal structure. This is the indoor, the first exhibition curated by Wu Hong, a great curator. And then he actually used the sidewall, which is corresponding to my reciprocal structure. Yeah. These are some collections from the Yuz Museum. And then later on, we all, of course, we're inviting the museum inviting different curators. They start to play with the geometry, which for me is kind of interesting. They sometimes rotate it and then create some different feeling and experience, yeah, inside. And then these are some very vivid activity scenarios in and out, like the riverfront, the courtyard, kind of a launch setting, and also lecture setting, and then also the opening setting. And then this is the second courtyard project, which is the Dongyuan Qianxun Community Center in Suzhou, another important city in Jiangnan culture. It's in the north of Huqiu Lake. And then it's actually part of a big real estate development, and these are all townhouses, very rigid townhouses. And we are doing this community center, not only serving these houses, but also serving the other surroundings, other communities around. Um, so I think this location share a demands because this whole area is a little vacant. At that moment, it's not the ancient kind of traditional fabric with a very dense fabric. Here is kind of a more open area. So we do need some enclosure, sense of enclosure. On the other hand, I also don't want the building to be too enclosed. It also need to have a sense of welcoming for the community to join. So the idea is to create this structural system that's allow a movement from one direction, whereas your mind can fly in the other direction above you. So this is a staggered concrete wall structure that creates this three-dimensional explanation or presentation from the traditional opening. Um, in these traditional garden, I mean they are from the our ancestor. I love them, but I don't want to repeat sort of giving kind of these kind of small openings on the wall. Instead, I just use structure to create a vast or cavity between structure to provide openings for either pedestrian or your mind. And then with this underneath uh, diagram, you can see the how people is actually giving kind of a pressure underneath the reversed vault vault roof. So these are how the structure works, and with the indoor and outdoor space. And this whole system was a two-story tall. So we try to bring the courtyard idea into the second story and merge them together with the ground floor experience, which is giving a new chance for the traditional courtyard idea to grow up into in three dimensions. And these are you can also see the courtyards inside the building. And how these walls going out and in, and then to kind of contain all these different layers of space inside. When there's a sunken garden, it goes even deeper, so it becomes three-story tall with the bamboo growing from the basement. The third project is actually a new project we finished last year, YK Pao School in Shanghai. It's a new building for the school, which is called Anna Pao Soman Center. Anna Pao Soman is the founder of the school, which is now right now a pretty prestige international school in Shanghai, and that they're opening a new school in Hong Kong. My client Herbert is here. Yeah, thank you for joining us. And then this project is situated in near a train subway station, not far from Hongqiao Airport, and then all surroundings are kind of a bit low rise. Yeah, in Shanghai, a lot of villas, and then kind of a national resorts. Yeah, around it. Um, and but the site itself is pretty tight. Yeah, this is the big road, Hongqiao Road, and then this is the periphery, yeah, the fence of the school. So before we join in, this was it. This is what it was. Yeah, it just was one building, existing building, and then one sports field, and then an entry, kind of a forest garden. And then the school is sort of kind of indoor stadium, and then all the other kind of, including some other classrooms and activity rooms. So they really need a complex building complex to house all these sports facilities, and also with other kind of classrooms like art and science and music. So the only place we can do is actually on the north side of the sports field. Yeah, we kind of can shorten the sports field a bit, and then so we can have a new site here. But the only the this is the least it can go, because it needs 200 meter runway. Yeah, and then it also needs a 100-meter long kind of a runner track. So if we only doing building on top of this, still not enough for all these functions. So this project actually starts from very rigid kind of limitation. So it's true, we have to do everything precise. Otherwise, we cannot afford to have all these kind of thing together. So that means the on the ground floor we can have, yeah, or bottom we have a kind of a swimming pool, and then above that we have to extend them out. So that means the front part of the building need to be cantilevered out or supported from the field. So this is the ground floor. You can see how we introduce in the runnerway into the building, underneath the building, and with the entry, a lobby, and then a swimming pool behind. So by starting by doing this, we use two truss structure, two sort of V-shape column to support the truss above, so that so as to open the two corner of the building to allow the track to run through. So you can see how deep this building need to set back, yeah, on the ground floor. And from this, we start to develop the idea of interface, yeah, which I called it. You can see 4 layers of interface, and then we create this sort of the transparency between the faces that people can not just feeling that they are kind of trapped in one space, but instead they are very welcome to see through and then join the other activities around. And so it happens on the third and fourth floor, where the stadium sits and the 2-story tall, and the other classroom are surrounding it, with openings and then courtyards, small courtyard space, and all these can be seen with 2 axes with transparency, visually and experientially. And this is a section that you can see how we deal with the interfaces. And also vertically, the transparency vertically. Also, as there are two, actually, there's another basketball fields on top of the stadium. So we do these terrace, and then we tilt the slab up to allow the natural light to come in without kind of using electricity in the daytime. The stadium can run by its own. And these are the section of the building. It's a very complex building with only a little bit less than 8,000 square meter, but in-house really complicated programs within. In Shanghai, there's a Shanghainese called 螺丝壳里做道场. I don't know how to translate that in Chinese, but in English, but it means it's with very limited space. You have to do a lot of things within. And then thanks our client to support everything, yeah, particularly with the mock-up. The building it was wrapped up by, for example, wrapped up by the trellis, a grid around the building, and then also with the greenery. I hope these green can grow, so the whole elevation actually is changing every year, yeah, gradually, and it start to grow from the second floor. So we need to provide planters. Yeah. Also, there's a big test, a debate on what kind of material need to be used here. First of all, we were trying kind of composite bamboo structure, but then the contractor complained that it will be really need to be easily to be damaged and then not climatically friendly. So client help us. We talked deeply, and then we decided to do a mock-up on the site, one-to-one scale, and then comparing bamboo and aluminum together, and we do all these scientific records of all the temperatures on top of the surface in the hottest time in the summertime. So interestingly, we find that there's no significant difference. The temperature on top on the surface of the aluminum is actually even a little bit lower than the temperature on the bamboo. So and then after 1 year, also thank for the pandemic because the pandemic actually delayed the whole project. So this test went along for 1 year. Yeah. So then we found out it's true that without enough maintenance, the composite bamboo start to get really kind of shabby, yeah, in a way. So finally, the client and us all together, we decided we use aluminum in the end. So I have to kind of say goodbye to the sort of the warmness or the of what architects usually love, which is the wood itself. Yeah. This is a photo of the project manager team. Yeah, my management office within the building, which is always the best picture I like before it's decorated by the interior designer. We designed the interior schematic, but then there's another team to develop it into construction documents for the interior design. Yeah. But I always like this picture where we introduce in high window and low window and give the body and the mind different ways of engaging with the nature. And then this is where it's finished. The front. So you can see, sorry, you can see these V-shaped concrete column perfectly shape the door of the gate of the soccer fields in the middle. And then we also have a nest binding between the two columns to approve keep the ball away from the glass. This is the west wall. And then this opening is behind it's the swimming pool. This is the corner. So with this opening, this truss on top, not only allowing the track to run through, but also open a corner between the old building and the new building. And this is the covered area, which reflects the color of the grass. Actually, fake grass. This is not real grass. But the green, I like the green sort of bonding into the depths of the space. And this is how the 100-meter long track runs underneath the building. And this is the lobby. The founder's father is well-known swim lover. Yeah, so this swimming pool and all the ideas from kind of a boat culture in a way. And this is a sunken indoor swimming pool that people can actually, when they swim, they can enjoy the view of the garden outside with the reflecting color, a mixture of the wood color and the color of the water. The staircase and then the lobby inside on the third floor. And this curve is exactly going down. You can see through, you can see the running track underneath, and this can get some sunlight from the top, which is also a curve. So this curve actually totally reflect the running track underneath the stadium. And all these lights on two sides, and also these lights are all natural lights. The workshop area also introducing natural light. Music class. This is the how to say that in English? Sorry, Herbert. 柚子，英语怎么说？哦，忘 Pompella, Pompella tree, Pompella tree. Yeah, Pompella tree is the logo of the school. So we plant a real Pompella tree in the garden so the kids can kind of sit beneath it. There's a video. It's just produced. I forgot to say the truss is actually a concrete truss. Yeah. Well, during the pandemic, we changed the whole structure system from steel frame into concrete frame. So that was really a big change. Yeah. Herbert still remember that. Yeah. Okay. Second part is the folding roof, folding plates. You can also see from the original how we developed from original form type into the contemporary extension through a structural space, either tied with culture or technology. First project I want to share is a rowing club in Century Park in Shanghai. Rowing actually was developed in the United Kingdom, but this park is in Shanghai, a grand China kind of a central park in Shanghai, one of the biggest, and then this riverside. So we trying to combine these two image together. One is a very traditional prototype called 水榭, a building type that is besides the river or even actually planted into the water, and then with the rolling sports. It is actually the site is besides the river, of course, and then adjacent to a forest, yeah, behind it. So this is what existing in the on the site. So what we don't want to do is to actually kill a lot of trees and then occupy the space by a series of boathouse and then activity rooms. Yeah. So what we are trying to do is to embed it, the activity room into the river. and then leave as most as possible the forest, and then kind of distribute or kind of make a dispersed boathouse. So each boathouse will be very thin, slicing in the forest. And this is the plan that you can see on the right side. So there are three boathouses that is slicing in the forest, and then this is the where the river bank was. So we use that for lockers and showers. And then this is the activity room, including exercise and rowing machine into it. And then they can go down to the deck to practice in the river. So here you can see my sketch of using a symbology of the boat, the rolling activity as a symbol of how the structure space is developed. Yeah, because we have two hands and two rows, so the structure is also like two columns. Between the column is only 1.2 meter, which is the width of the door, and then this is the only structure that supports the upper eave and also the bottom deck. So there's no column here and here. And then this folded plates that can start to kind of play with the landscape either directions. And this is the section model. So I hope my students understand what I'm expecting from you for the final review. Um, yes. So structural space is engineer and plus uh, atmosphere or cultural identity. So they are not separated, they are together. And this was the model of the building. And then this you can see the main building, two pair of H-shaped column to support these two roof and deck. And then the pipes are kind of embedded in the river bank. And then here you can also see another detail about how I use two L-shape kind of a corner column angle column to form this small column and then bifurcate them on the top to support the pitched roof for the house, for the boathouse. This is actually the thinnest building we have ever done. It's only 800 millimeter wide. And then the bottom, the trellis is supported by individual concrete foundation to allow earth and then frogs and all these species to go underneath through, go in and out without disturbing their life. Yeah, so this is the how the building is situated in the landscape. And then this is how the the decks going separate them into like two paths in the front. And this is how the boathouse is inserted is assembled from the factory. The gate. We actually use the wall extending out to separate the experience inside in the forest and then in the river. We want to have them really separated. Yeah, yeah, not really kind of giving transparency. We want to give kind of a surprising, yeah, for the users. And this is the structural space, yeah, under when it's always better than it's finished. I until now I never figure out a way how to save this feeling. So I'm still trying to find out. Um, because only by doing this you can clearly see how the structure is supported and without disturbing kind of misunderstanding the logic of the structure. And this is where when it's finished. And the air conditioning goes with this machine, and then with the ducts connecting to the linked to the bank. So the whole facade can be opened by these folded folded windows. And this is the deck behind. Yeah. Okay. There's also a small video to save time. Okay. This is the second project of the folding roof, an activity homes at Rinjing Road westbound. People who went to Shanghai recently may know that westbound is one of the hottest spots, yeah, in Shanghai, with many arts and architecture, and also kind of new industry of media and Alibaba or all these kind of things goes there. And then this area is the hottest spots are maybe the Huangpu River bank, but the project we did is actually a little bit inland, which was actually one of the earliest airport in Asia, called Longhua Airport. So this was the runway of the airport. So this was in 2010, before it's renovated. And after that, it's renovated into a big boulevard, and then together with a green park, a runway, call it a runway park. So we designed three buildings in the park. The park landscape design was done by Sasaki. So you can see our initial sketch about how to engage with the linear space, with the linear building, and then on the other cross section, we're trying to introducing folding place for them to dance as a symbol of flying, yeah, on the runway, yeah. This is the basic structural system of the building. We have these two are similar scale. Because in Shanghai, in the coding system, any building within the park, public park, cannot exceed 500 square meter per building for the site coverage. So without that regulation, I would rather to make it as one, yeah, building, which you can tell. So I create a small kind of a plaza in the middle, and then these two buildings. And we also use the system to do a third one, a small cafe here. So the idea is to use a east-west way of a shear wall and supporting a truss plates that is folded on top of it, sitting on top of it. Without column, these folded plates can cover, can span like 15 to 19 meter. Yeah. So that can create a different kind of hint of how to use the space. But all these spaces are actually uh, open to each other. So we are kind of welcome kind of different layouts, yeah, for the users, and also kind of give them a hint or kind of encourage them to communicate with each other. This is how the community space is working in the future, I think. And then these are some sections with at different locations. And this is a sectional drawing of the space under the construction. And this is a picture when it's done with the linear park. So the openings, when it start to dance and then differentiate the sections between among each other, we this operation allow us to have openings on the south and north faces to introducing natural light. And this is to the other direction. I like this night picture because it shows the structure space, yeah, better in a way. Uh, oops. This is an indoor picture. Now the staircase is gone, yeah, because they think this is actually occupying space for like seating or for making money, yeah. Um, they'd rather to put coffee tables here, yeah. There was a penthouse upstairs. These are some images in the beginning. And then these are some different usage of the space. Yeah. It used to be run, one of the space used to be run by Zhuangshen, called Naxing space, yeah, called an architecture, and also a very good architecture bookstore, yeah, in the building, yeah. Now moved to Xi'an, to another place. And this is the small building that we use the same system to do this coffee shop. A very popular one, actually. The third one is also the pitch roof. We developed this bridge I call it Night Terrace Bridge. We use the pitch roof as a span carrier in Nanjing Horticulture Expo. So we actually designed this hotel village, north part of it. Actually, the southern part is done by Dong Gong, yeah, who gave lecture 2 weeks ago. But it seems he didn't publish this building. Maybe not precise enough for him. And then we did the pavilion and some 10 courtyard house, and then with this bridge going north to the parking space. There's a requirement for the river clearance for the boat, and then on one side of the river is the parking lot, and then visitors need to go across the bridge to go to their hotels. Yeah, so we think they drive for so long, and then we don't want to kind of want them to kind of climb too high across the river. So we want to keep the thickness of the bridge platform as small as possible. Um, so of course we don't like the idea of like what we can achieve is we don't want to do a big beam, yeah, because when you do a beam, it's going to have a height, yeah, And we also don't want to do oops, we also don't want to do a truss because the truss is maybe too industrial to us. Yeah. So, and also we want to give two bridge head a sense of going home, like a pitched roof going home. So we cut it into half, like two kind of a half house here. So here are some reference from the Suzhou Gardens with this kind of lightness of bridge on top of the river. So the final idea comes is to hide the truss, folding plates truss inside the roof system. Yeah. And then use this as a main structure and hanging with three rods, hanging these platforms. So people need to go up the bridge and down because this is only 200, 300 millimeter difference. So we can have like slopes and small steps to link all the platform together. And then by doing this, we can give kind of a social community usage to the bridge, which means that this bridge can be divided into 9 different spaces. And then people can use them as like maybe a secondhand, I don't know, whatever activities or retail or resting area underneath on the platform. So this is a small animation about how the structure space works. Oh, I hate the music. Sorry. My system. And then this is the best picture I like, yeah, which is you can see how the lightness of platform that is hung from the roof. So by doing this, I convince myself it is not always a problem of traditional or contemporary. We should go beyond that. But it's true that the form from the previous age actually tied us back with a cultural identity that I believe already inserted or embedded in our blood, no matter which country, which area you are from. So actually, it is actually very meaningful to explore the new possibility of this form itself to see how they can do for our future. This is how the bridge cover span to the other side of the river. So the each bridgehead is actually we keep it very intimate as a small house with just the one door plus one window opening. And on the bridge, it's the terraces are divided or separated, but roughly defined by this bamboo screen. And then people can sit on both sides to look outside. Last category, I only have 2 projects. I call it Cellular Cluster, which is generated from biological form logic, and I think there could be a lot of architecture extension through that in terms of unit capability and organic reproductions. We developed it from this scene collector as one piece of units and then to a cluster of units as a kindergarten. And then to this Dashawan Beach facility utilize the periphery of the hexagon shape to make a Y shape structure that is spanning on different levels. So here comes the other experiment of the Y shape that is from the hexagon geometry, which is the Google Developers Group Center in Shanghai. On the side, there's these 6 camphor tree left over and our building is just underneath it. So the idea is that because this whole green belt is very kind of noisy, and then for pedestrian to walk through to work every day. So if we want to have some kind of activity space, we'd better lift them up. So we kind of have a cantilever idea, and then lift the whole volume up. And I want the building kind of freely fly or wandering in between the trees, and then use shear wall again to support them. So the whole structure space is actually a truss. These short truss is the important one. They are supported by shear walls, and these the short truss actually cantilever all the long trusses. So all the pieces only have 4.5-meter wide, and then they kind of organize these space or gardens in the sky. And so we even create interesting pedestrian roads. Everything has to go in the middle. When we have a toilet, restroom, it has to be divided into 4 small rooms. So this is how the structure is assembled on the site. So each tank is produced in the factory and assembled together on the site. In order to prevent the roots of the tree, because we're playing with the tree, we actually lift up the foundation to make a flat, bigger foundation to avoid the foundation to go deeper. Yeah. But then simultaneously, it will break the rain, the nutrition of the water. So in the end, we are making the foundation translucent. We are doing a lot of pipes to allow water, rain to go down. Yeah. One of my colleagues actually told me he graduated from Hong Kong U. He told me he had another opinion was when after he talked with a landscape professor here in Hong Kong U, saying there could be another solution that this can go smaller but go deeper, yeah, to prevent the roots in a better way. But anyway, this was our solution before. Um, all the floors are kept pretty low. Every floor is only 0.9 meter to avoid kind of intervention with the tree, with the trunks. So you can see this is a combination of structure actually finally disappeared, but through these reflective stainless steel. But on the top, you can see the truss structure behind the aluminum panel twisted and tensioned, so as to give it also a symbol, also something that we can learn from the tree itself. And then all these kind of facade is permeable by wind and the rain and the light. And then it's open and then on the ground floor. And it's quiet on the second floor with reflecting pools. And all the opening, just like Suzhou Garden, but the shape has to follow the logic of the structure of the truss. So it has to be triangle. And then we allow the trees go through the building into it, and then sort of fight or kind of live together with the structure. This is the indoor space. In order to create to utilize the height, we even use this step. So in every room, you need to step down, yeah, 1 step into the room. Okay, the last project is a landmark, I would say. Yeah, very different from other projects we did before. But I still keep it within my kind of a cell idea, cell cluster idea. This is a project called Wave Cube, and finally, it's run by a company who is doing giving experiential activity here in the building for 3 body problem. I don't know if you know this science fiction novel. Globally, it's pretty famous. It's in Fengxian in China, in Shanghai area, besides this artificial lake. And they want to do kind of landmark around the lake. And then the biggest architect they invite is So Fujimoto, who did a museum here, but maybe for any reason they are not quite satisfied. So 6 years ago, they asked us to do a competition. Then we got the project to do a what they called in the beginning is a science museum, yeah, in the site. So three body problem hasn't jumped in yet. So in so I was thinking about what kind of landmark I want to make because this area in Shanghai there's no hill, no mountain at all. It's so flat. The only thing I can think about again, just as the name of our company, 山水秀, is the mountain water. So I come out with the idea of building up a special experience, but then the outcome is a wave, yeah, idea, like a hill, yeah, here. These are the wave idea from literature, perceptive nature, and physics. So what we, I really want to someday we can engage with the deeper kind of a physical typology or physical formula. But unfortunately for architects, we at most we can deal with like sine, cosine, uh, mathematics. So we need to figure out a way later. We are kind of late behind. But this is but we have our own power. Yeah, these are the extraction of the wave units from 4 layers of wave, and then the forming how we form the wave shell. The whole structure is you can divide them into think about them like three waves. So one is these hills on the ground, and they support the bottom, the lower layer of shell, and then the upper layer of shell. And the force of the structure is not direct. Yeah, it's quite challenging because if you look at this model, you can see from this top, the force going to two directions into this X-shaped shear wall. And then from these shear wall, the force cannot go down. They have to go distributed again to these two directions, and then to the hill. And the hill, of course, there's a mushroom column underneath, but then you can see this indirect force. The structural engineer Zhang Jun, we discussed a lot about the structure. We found that although it's not optimistic in terms of direct force direction, direct force direction, but it's good for earthquake, yeah, for seismic, because the shell provides a lot of diagonals, yeah, here. So in the interior, we would like to introducing not a flat floor at all. It's actually undulated up and down with all these kind of different um, venue. So you can say it's actually very logical in a way. This is the structure analysis, and Zhang Zhun did a really a fantastic job. And we discuss and we try to find a form together. In the end, it's something between arch and folded plates. So here you can see the diagram. The red one is compression, and then the blue one is actually tension. So for the tension, we have to do a lot of kind of pre-stressed steel bars in the tubes. Sorry, this is the English version. Right? Pre-stressed tendon duct, yeah, in the slab. And then this diagram shows the cantilever. The whole size of the square is 80 meter by 80 meter. So the cantilever is 27 meter. Yeah, also a pretty big cantilever. From this two diagram, you can understand how the actually folded plates idea help the structure a lot in this sense. And this is the plan, ground floor and second floor, where you can see all the undulated space underneath. And then for construction, we also develop this idea together with the contractor, because in the beginning we want to do a 3D printing format for the formwork. That means we can use like 1.5 meter square to support a customized 3D printed formwork. Ban was then rejected by the contractor because they are too costly. They would like to go to ordinary or kind of conventional way of doing wood formwork, but then how to control the precision, yeah. And we show our we are unhappy about this. Well, they don't want to go with this. So in order to convince us, they invent this 360-degree rotatable detail to support to control the tube, because this is a composite wood formwork supported by the tube grids. This is the construction process. There's a video about the construction or the structural space. Music by David Darling, my favorite celloist composer. actually we got free use of the music from the publisher. So it was really, they think this video can actually not doing bad to the music, so they allow us to use it. At least they like the. Uh, um, so in order to save time, I will skip these pictures. I'll go to another video. Yeah, in the end, which is after it's finished. This is the roof. Underneath the shell. Maybe just a few words about the science fiction. Yeah, these are the three best science fiction I love. From Isaac Asimov, Arthur Clarke, of course, the legendary 2000 Space Odyssey, 2001, and then Liu Cixin's three-body problem. And then these are some sketch I did for the space in the beginning. And then end up with some internal um, atmosphere and experience inside. Okay, this is the final video. So it's good to compare the difference. Is actually not done very precisely. It's actually, you can, even from the video, you can see a lot of mistakes and these are two quotes from two novels, science fiction novel. Arthur Clarke said in the Profiles of the Future, the only way of discovering the limits of the possible is to venture a little way past them into the impossible. Second quote is from Liu Cixin's three-body problem third. The third one is called Death's End, which is grant civilization to time, not time to civilization. I think within a combination of these two codes, it will be a perfect description of what I pursue for iteration for architecture. Thank you. Sorry,
thank you.
too long.
It's getting a little late. Let's take 3 questions. Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Zhu. Excellent presentation. Great collection of very sensitive and very sensible projects. I can see the fight, the perseverance in all this. And of course, the heartbreaks as well sometimes, which is not uncommon amongst architects. I'm a bamboo fanatic. Okay, structural bamboo has been with us for a long time, especially recently endorsed by the international community, including the Americans and the Europeans, etc., etc. Structural bamboo somehow has not taken off really. Here and there, we've got examples of bamboo buildings. Your test for the facade in your project have not been very successful. How do you combine structural bamboo into your future buildings? This is coming. It has been here for a long time, for a few years. We just need someone brave enough to break the people's mind that bamboo is the way forward to help out your greater humanity. It breathes more oxygen,
Yes.
absorbs more CO2
Yes.
for carbon capture, carbon trading, etc., etc. Thank you.
Thank you for this challenging question. Yeah. Actually, the test I did is actually not the direct bamboo, not the bamboo itself. It's the composite bamboo, laminated bamboo. So it's already processed. I think as what I understood from about the material and its future, we need to actually, I think, make efforts from both sides. Yeah, one side is the performance of the material itself. The other is from the designer's wisdom, how to design it. I think these are the two ways. I mean, both need to consider the construction and maintenance for the building. Let's go beyond that project because that's a school project. The client asks us to keep the maintenance as low as possible. But for future, if we can design something that can accept the change of time by bamboo, I mean, if it's a design that appreciate the beauty of the time changing and even how it's get kind of destroyed or later, and how to improve the performance by repaint or maintenance. I think this is one methodology, one direction. The other is for bamboo itself. I mean, it's beautiful. It has the warm, but on the temperature. But the other side, it also is easy to get rusted in a way. And so, how to say 发霉? I forgot English word. It's compared to composite wood. It's much easier to get meijing to hurt it. So I think for composite bamboo, it also need to improve itself. Yeah, from engineer, from the scientists to help the bamboo to become more usable while we are keeping the aesthetic portion of it. Yeah, but I have no answer of right away, can I do something like that? But I think you inspire me to think from both way in the future. Thanks.
By the way, Xiaofeng speaks Cantonese. If you want to ask the question in Cantonese,
I'll try.
by all means. Okay, next one. Okay, Professor Zhu.
I think if we compare the folded roof with the latest one, the sort of structural logics different. The folded roof, of course, with the cultural sort of homage to the tradition, but the folded roof indicate roof in terms of the form is different from the ground. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Folded roof as in the unique folded like a truss. either hanging the floor plate or the floor plate supported with by the shear wall column, etc. Right? One is folded, one is flat. But the last one, when you try to create this mirror topography, the roof sort of in the mirror image with the ground, formally similar, but then you didn't connect the two waves together to let them like support each other. There's a lot of vertical element at the core, the concrete pier. So the roof transferred to some of the vertical piers and the cores, retransferred to the ground. The ground also contained the mushroom vertical columns, sort of compromising the structural purity. Yeah, formally they looks like two pairs of a mirrored image, but there are a lot of vertical elements like penetrating the two.
Actually, there are only two. Maybe I didn't introduce them closely.
But you
The-
also
these
have
two,
you see you have a corner in between the pier.
but this is not going down. This is only covering. First of all, there are two core, of course, containing like elevators, and all the vertical ducts, but no other vertical elements are going all the way down.
I was thinking Sejima's Rolex Study Center, the undulating roof and also the ground, they support each other without vertical support at all. Yeah, and just like
okay, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah.
Okay, the last question. Yes, good. Student, finally.
Thank you, Professor Zhu. I'm Elio, and I'm also an architect from Shanghai, and I'm very admire your work. So I want to ask, how do you think these logics will evolve in the future, especially in high density urban renewal like Hong Kong? So how can they keep their seeding potential?
What potential?
Seeding
potential. Yeah. I see. I think this is a very good question regarding kind of a regular building, and then with our experiments from architects, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's true that we don't need experiment for all the buildings all over the world. I think in certain ages there will be, for example, modernism creates this new standard or new aesthetic, and then spread out and copied, and then spread out the whole world and hurting the world in some way. But then in different ages, I think we do need we need to work with the ordinary, in a way, to make efficiency. But on the other hand, I think we also need experiment for architecture to move on. So I don't think these two are kind of conflicting each other. They are actually kind of they are inspiring each other. Or while we are experimenting, we also need the ordinary logic to drag us, to allow us to think about humanity and civilization in a more kind of less cost way. And for Hong Kong, for example, for this building, Nolo's building, it's built supposed to be for architecture school, but actually you can see, except for this room, we have three of them with a slanted floor. All the other floors are designed as an office, as a typical office, right? Yeah. And those give people kind of no difference in terms of experience, spatial experience. And then at this scenario, I think the pitched roof idea is really a good kind of a way for people to go beyond this kind of averagely distributed box idea, and then to have them think about, we used to live underneath pitched roof. which is supposed to be from the original concept of when you are standing underneath two trees. And then the pitch roof not only give you the quality of space, but also allow the water to go, the drainage to go down. It's not only in China. I mean, it's in all over the world, right? In the subtropical area, pitch roof is so popular. So you can, from this story, maybe can help you to start to think anything in between, or can we do something with it? Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay, all right. For our students, if you have questions later on, and they can always ask Xiaofeng, maybe in the elevator or in the corridor. Thank you very much, Xiaofeng, for the
Thank you.
lecture.
Thank you.